Vij here, welcoming you all for joining us today in the training session of HPS Glengaze MUN 2020 in association with Hosur Public School presented by Glengaze, a platform for students to get groomed for global takeover. I am delighted today to inform you all that today's session will be trained by Mr. Adi Sharma, who will provide his expertise to all our esteemed joinees with us. For HPS Glengaze MUN 2020, happening on 5th of December 2020, 9 am onwards till 6 pm. Mr. Adi Sharma is gradually developing strong passion for Model United Nations and has become a familiar face in the MUN circuit in Delhi NCR. Adi Sharma has had an exciting and thrilling metamorphosis from a component in a delegation representing a wider sovereign body to chairing his very own committee. I welcome you, sir, with a warm welcome today.
So, thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful introduction. It's my honor to be here as the presenter for today's training session. So, without taking any much time, I think we should begin with the session. Right. So, let's start. So, we are going to look at how you can prepare for an MUN and how the committee will work once you get into the committee on the day of the MUN. So let's take an introduction to the MUN. So it takes a lot of effort to participate in an MUN. So it is not just that you will study for 1 hour or 2 hours before the conference and you will be able to participate willingly, participate in a good manner, participate with your full confidence in a MUN. It takes a lot of days of preparation and with a lot of dedication from your side to have a very confident research. So after the MUN, you will get confidence in public speaking. You will get immense knowledge on global issues. You will have a great personality and great social influencing skills. So the first step towards MUN and to how to prepare for an MUN is to have the confidence to speak. So in order to get the confidence to speak, if you do not have, so you can try public speaking activities such as speaking to yourself in front of a mirror, speaking to your parents, speaking to your siblings, speaking to your friends on topics that need discussion, that will give you the confidence to speak in front of other people without any hesitation. So the first step is to be ability to speak confidently in the committee. So it's just a small meme that the argument that you have in mind is quite big like this dinosaur, but the argument that you speak is just like this small cartoon instead of the big animated picture. So next, we have to see the research. So you have an example, you need to have an ample amount of research to actually be able to speak. So if you are backed by a good amount of research, you automatically get the confidence that yes, I've got great research, I can speak and I can win the prize. So if you don't have any sufficient research, you yourself lose your confidence. And research is the backbone of your whole debate. If you are not well researched, nothing can protect you in the debate. Next, we come to how to research. So while researching for a conventional committee, that is the United Nations committees that we have in the MUN, so you need to be careful from where you gather the information. It needs to be from a credible source. So you can use Wikipedia for your own knowledge for writing your speech, but it should not be used as quoting as a proof. So you need to use credible sources like BBC, CNN, Reuters, Al Jazeera, etc., like the internationally acclaimed sites or the United Nations sites for using this to support your research. While researching for an MUN, you need to have the following prerequisites. These are the prerequisites for any research. So you should have a detailed stance and policies of your country. So if you are representing your country and the country that has been assigned to you, you need to be sure about how the country works in international bodies, how it will make policies with other countries, who are its allies, who are its opponents, who it will, what are its relations with other countries, etc. So the reasons for the cause and development of the issue and its effect. So you have been given a problem. UN discusses the problems that are prevailing in the international world. So internationally speaking, you need to see what are the causes of the problem, what how did the problem develop, and how is it developing right now. So the next step are the steps taken for mitigation of the issue. So you need to make sure that you also research the steps that have already been taken by your country, by other countries, or by the United Nations to mitigate the issue. And the third step would be to suggest your innovative ways. That is the thing that bags you most of the marks. Also, collect proof regarding the fault of various countries on the issue. So in order to question other countries, you need to have proof, and you need to research on other countries as well. So when you enter the committee as a first timer, once you go there, you will find various delegates that will be shouting, right, come over here, we will discuss this, I want you to support my topic, I want you to do this, and it would be a lot of hustle bustle in the room. So what should you do? So as a first timer, you should always go with the flow. Alright, so whatever is happening in the committee, just go there, nicely follow whatever the person who's taking the lead is saying, and just follow them. So as a first timer, you will gain experience. Just make sure that you observe and learn how the committee is working and how the leader is taking the committee forward. Rules of procedure are the ROPs in short. So these are the building blocks of an MUN. These are what create the flow in MUN. So there are basically 5 points. So point of personal privilege. So you have to raise this point if you feel any personal discomfort. Like if, for example, you are sitting in a committee, you are feeling hot, you are feeling cold, or you are feeling that the volume of the mic is very high, very low, you are feeling that your desk is broken, anything that you are having a personal discomfort in, you raise a point of personal privilege. If the delegate that is speaking is not audible, you raise a point of personal privilege. So how do you raise a point of personal privilege? So in a physical MUN, you will basically just raise a placard and say point of personal privilege, and the chairperson will recognize you. And in an online MUN, what we will do is you will have to raise your hand if the delegate is not audible. Next is the point of parliamentary inquiry. So parliamentary inquiry means that you need to ask the executive board members something regarding the formal procedures. So point of order. So you have to raise the point of order whenever there is a factual inaccuracy. So for example, you have a delegate of US in the committee, and he says that in his speech that the capital of India is Mumbai. So you will raise a point of order in the following format. So there is a format for the point of order. So basically the format goes like, the delegate of USA stated, quote, the capital of India is Mumbai, unquote, whereas the capital of India is Delhi. So basically what you say is, you say that which delegate said, quote, whatever wrong statement he said, unquote, and then you provide with the right statement. If you don't know the right statement, you cannot raise a point of order. And also there is one contingency to the point of order, that is if someone says that he believes that the capital of India is Bombay, then you cannot raise a point of order because you cannot question someone's beliefs. So it means the question. So basically point of information is the question. So after every speech, after your general speakers list or a moderated caucus speech, you are asked if you are open to points of information, or do you want to yield your time to points of information. So we are going to come to GSL and mod in the further slides. So for right now, point of information are questions after you speak. So you give your 90 seconds GSL, and what you do is you are asked if you have time left. For example, you spoke for 60 seconds and the total time you were allotted was 90 seconds. You have 30 seconds left, and that 30 seconds can be given to the executive board, it can be given to points of information, or it can be given to any other delegate. That is what is called the yield. So it is raised when some delegate personally or individually attacks or allegate your country, depending upon the EB to allow this right or not. So let's take a quick revision of the points. So first we have the point of personal privilege if you feel any personal discomfort. Next we have the point of parliamentary inquiry. If you want to ask about any formal procedures of the committee to the executive board, you ask them by raising a point of parliamentary inquiry. Next, you raise a point of order by raising your placard or by raising your hand. All these points are raised by raising your hand. So if you have a point of personal privilege, a point of parliamentary inquiry, you will be asked after some speeches, after every half an hour, you will be asked if there are any points on the floor. Any points on the floor means they are asking for these points. If if you have any point of personal privilege, if you have any point of parliamentary inquiry, a point of order, but not a point of information. A point of information is only a question that can be answered after a speech. Right. So we come to motions. So motions are like motions are the thing that move the committee forward. So motion are like directive suggestions that a delegate makes and is voted upon by the rest of the committee. So it is usually pre-decided by the majority of the committee or by the delegates in a session, which is called an unmoderated session. So you need to remember this statement by heart. This is one thing that you need to remember. So I, delegate of XYZ, would like to raise a motion to enter into a GSL on the topic of your committee. You will have to speak it out. To start a moderated caucus on the topic, that will be the subtopic that you guys will decide, for total time being 20 minutes. So GSL or general speakers list is the list of all the speakers that wish to speak on the general topic. General topic being the topic that has been given to you. In other small committees like AIPPM, Security Council, or even UNESCO, etc., there are opening statements that are compulsory to give. So GSL is not compulsory. Then we come to a moderated caucus. So you have been given a topic that is really broad. It needs other discussions on important subtopics that it has. So it is like a vague topic that you have been given, and you need to discuss on particular subjects under the topic. So that is what you do in a moderated caucus. So you will be given time in an unmoderated session that you will discuss amongst yourselves on regarding which topic is the most important that needs to be discussed and deliberated upon in order to get a fruitful debate. Then we move forward to the unmoderated caucus. So in an unmoderated caucus is something that is unmoderated. If you get by the literal meaning of the word, unmoderated is that we will not moderate you, we will not control you. So it would be an informal session with the committee for lobbying purposes. Lobbying means that you will go to other delegates, you will pursue them to, for example, you will pursue them to go with your moderated caucus topics, you support your draft resolution, to support your motion for this thing, or to support this for this. You will basically discussing moderated caucus topics in the unmoderated caucus. Then we come to the last part of the committee, that is the draft resolution. So draft resolution is a document that is prepared by the delegates that state the problems that were discussed in the committee and the solutions in a formal manner. So the procedure or the format of the draft resolution will be discussed in your committee only, because it is a very vast topic and the different executive boards require different type of draft resolution. So the executive board will be telling you about the draft resolution in the committee itself. So draft resolution is basically a document that states the problems. Alright, so when you discuss a topic, you discuss the problems first and then its solutions. So it goes with observatory clauses and preambulatory clauses. That is all something that is going to be explained deeply by your executive board members on the day of the committee. So after preparing the formal document according to your executive board, it is then voted upon in the committee, and if it gets the majority, then the draft resolution passes. So next we come to press release. So press release is also another formal document, but it has a less complex format than the draft resolution. So press release is a document that is to be released to the press stating the discussions in the committee. Then we come to another thing, that are the chits. Chits are how you communicate between yourself, how you question other delegates through the executive board, and how you get yourself marked upon. So in a physical MUN, you write a chit. This is the format for a chit. This is a sample chit. So it is to XYZ from your portfolio. Portfolio means your country. So you will write in the following format: to Nigeria from United States of America via EB if required. If you want the executive board to see your chit, you will quote a statement if you are questioning him that you said this, or if you are answering, you will quote a proof that no, this is wrong, this is the true statement. You will give a brief explanation in 3 to 4 lines, or you will write a question in 3 to 4 lines, and then just give it to, you will just send it to the required medium that you are being told by our executive board member. So that was it.
So with this, I'll say thank you so much, Mr. Adi, for your time and insights who have guided us all. Also, I would like to thank Hosur Public School for supporting this learning extravaganza.